Welcome, guys. We're so glad you could join us today. And officially, welcome to the Forrester family at Huntington University. You know, you're here by God's design. You were prayed for, prayed over before you ever arrived. That may be an odd thing for you to hear an employer say, but nevertheless, it's true here at Huntington. We are blessed to be led by a tremendously dedicated board of trustees, men and women of faith. If you wanted to know, probably 10% of our students do come from our denomination, the United Brethren in Christ. The other 90% come from all over, and we welcome students here. We welcome students to come and explore faith here. This last year, we finished strong. We continue to be nationally ranked. We continue to earn recognition in academics, student publications, and service. And our students do about 1,100 hours each year. And that's just the freshmen alone. So our freshmen will be pretty busy again this year. The cool thing is the solid foundation that we know as Huntington University actually will soon be approaching 125 years. In the year 2022. So that will probably be a trivia question. So you'll know the answer ahead maybe of some of your other groups. Our strategic plan is known as Faith Forward 2022. There are 5 pillars to that, and you can find out more about Faith Forward 2022 on our website. Hopefully, you'll have the chance, regardless of where you'll be working at the university, to engage with that document, engage with the strategies that will make us successful. It lays out a plan to build on a solid foundation and creating a new legacy. And that is Christ, scholarship, and service. And if you notice, we lead with the right thing. Christ is ever present in everything we do. We also want to frame a new paradigm of engagement, entrepreneurship, and really emergence in all things Christianly. So we're going to work on that. That's going to be how we push forward for the future. We are one university with 3 locations and online. We offer degrees at the associate, baccalaureate, master's, and doctoral levels. We've actually grown 23% since 2013. And last year, we enrolled 1,393 students in the fall. Now, I looked for 7 more because I wanted to get to 1,400. So I'm hoping I can find them this year as we begin our school year. Well, we're so glad that you're going to be a part of this vision for the future. And as you set up your employee benefits, I want to encourage you, and Marcy's going to talk to you a little bit about this later, to start now giving monthly to the Forrester Fund. You'll hear about the Forrester Fund a lot, but the Forrester Fund is the one way that benefits every faculty, staff, and student on our campus. It actually goes to our operations. So it's kind of like when you join a ministry or join a church, you kind of set aside an amount that you want to give in addition to your tithe. And so we always ask that you tithe first to your local church, and then the money that you set aside as an offering or an opportunity, you think about giving to the Forrester Fund. Well, when we ask students why they select Huntington University, they say a lot of things, but I've tried to encapsulate 5 that most closely mirrors who we are. First of all, they choose us because we have a spiritual atmosphere. The funny thing is that sometimes these students don't even have a spiritual foundation, but they choose us because they see a presence, a spiritual atmosphere that they desire, or they're curious about, or maybe it mirrors the world and the way in which they want to live. Others choose us because they already have a very strong faith, and so the spiritual atmosphere connects with them. Many of our students obviously choose us for career preparation. They know they want to be an animator. They know they want to be an occupational therapist. They know they want to get into vet school. I mean, you fill in the blank. And so they know that Huntington University has a pathway that they can do that. The third thing that prospective students tell us, whether they're at the associate level all the way to the doctoral level, is that they choose us because of the quality of our faculty and staff. Many of you are joining us because you have a specific skill set, a specific degree, a specific accomplishment that has qualified you to join the faculty or staff here. And then they choose us because the quality of the intended major. Our students do well. Each year we do a little percentage at the end of the number of students who complete their college career with us and the percentage that either are employed full-time in their field or are in graduate school. And we constantly are above the 99 percentile in schools that do that. Well, we have academic reputation and quality, and we want you as a part of that to uphold that. Well, when people ask who we are, I would say that Huntington University is definitely a Christ-centered liberal arts institution of higher education. Now you say, well, Dr. Emerson, my field is not quote unquote liberal arts, but that doesn't take away from the strong foundation that we put in the liberal arts, which is critical thinking, higher order thinking skills, the ability to write well and communicate well, the ability to implement strategies based on research-based practices. All of that is a core part of teaching and learning within a liberal arts institution. We also have a very strong historic and ongoing relationship with our denomination, the Church of the United Brethren in Christ. You may say, but I'm not United Brethren, and that's fine. You are a believer or you wouldn't have been hired here. But I will tell you that we do closely follow the tenets of the United Brethren Church. So it probably would be helpful if you would look on our website, or we have a pamphlet that we can give that talks about what the United Brethren in Christ believe. With the conviction that all truth is God's truth, the university exists to carry out the mission of Christ in higher education. We do that through a curriculum of demonstrated academic excellence. Students are educated in the liberal arts and their chosen disciplines, and we're always seeking to examine the relationship between our academic discipline and God's revelation to us through Jesus Christ. Our tagline, Christ, Scholarship, Service. You got it. The university's mission will be accomplished as we do several things. First of all, as we grow boldly in our personal faith. And you might say, well, Dr. Emden, what do you mean? I thought you hired me because I have a personal faith. I did. But I also hired you with the expectation that you will continue to grow and to grow boldly in your faith. We expect you to be a part of a local New Testament church. So find one. Find one that is in your faith tradition, one that you can proudly say, this is where my family or where I worship, and you can invite students or other faculty and staff to join you. Our mission will be accomplished as we teach and serve well. You know, I worked for a guy one time that was always worried about the number of students that we were going to have. And one of our fellow staff members one time said, you know, probably what we should concentrate is just on teaching well the students that God gives us. And so I want to encourage you this year to teach and to serve well in your respective places. I would also say that we will accomplish our mission if we demonstrate a commitment to excellence. We do want to be excellent. We strive for excellence. We have a very high bar of what a school can do with the resources that God has given us. And I will say that we exceed that bar all the time, whether we're in Arizona or we're in Fort Wayne or we're online or we are engaged in athletics or we study here in Huntington. Our students, our faculty and staff are continually raising the bar to commit excellence. And then the last there, as far as how will we know we lived out our mission, is that we learn to love our coworkers as ourselves. Now that's hard. And you might say, Doctor, I don't understand that. What do you mean you want me to love them as I love me? Well, that's what Christ instructs us. And he tells us to love one another as we love ourselves for a reason. We tend to like ourselves a lot. So if we can love other people and provide them the same benefits, to treat them in a way that we would want to be treated, to talk to them in a language in which we would want someone to talk to us, and basically to give each other the benefit of the doubt. That's probably the greatest gift you can give to your coworker, is to work from a position of love. And so I want to encourage you in that. Well, what are my expectations? Well, they're crazy, I will tell you. I'm constantly raising the bar there too, because that's my job. That's what I got to get on that balcony and do that 360 and look, where can we go and how can we do it? Well, first of all, I expect you to work really hard. I expect you to work really hard. I expect you to go all out for what God's called you to do here at Huntington University. Secondly, I expect you to be real. If you need to grow in your faith, then just admit it. Say, hey, I really need to read my Bible more. I really need to pray more. I really need an accountability partner. I really need to understand basic theology more. Or maybe I just need to practice what I preach better. Be real about it. Share it with your coworkers. Share it with one another so we can pray for you. The Bible says that the fervor, effectual prayer of a righteous man availeth much. So let's do that. And then I'm going to encourage you to plug in. If you just want to come to work and go home and you think that's what we expect of you, you're wrong. I want you to plug in. I want you to be involved. I want you to find a student activity that you can support. I want you to find something that you and your family possibly can participate in. I want you to be engaged in Forester Fund. I want you to be engaged in worship in our chapel. All of our chapels are going to be virtual this semester, so there's no excuse for you not taking a little time out to plug into that. So I want to encourage you in that. We are a very small ship that's rowing in a big ocean, and so we need lots of people who are committed to putting in what it takes to move this vessel, and I know that God will honor that. And last but not least, I want to encourage you to speak up. This is a place where your opinion can be voiced. Believe me, I voice my opinion, and I expect you to voice your opinion. And here you can do it. We really do encourage you in a godly way, in a proper way, to speak to your supervisor or to speak to your students or to speak to others about how we can be a better place, how we can be more real for Christ in what we do. Well, I would be hesitant if I didn't talk about this, and so I want to hold myself accountable for this. And that has to do with how serious are we about faith integration. Some of you may have come from schools, or maybe you never attended a Christian college. I didn't. I had to start my career in Christian higher ed, and I didn't really know what faith integration really meant. And so maybe you're going to have to study that a little bit. Maybe you're going to have to sit in a class. Maybe if you're a staff member, you're going to have to kind of get a feel for what that means. Here, we mean that everywhere you go, your faith in Christ goes with you. And if it's possible to lead from a faith perspective, we need you to do that. We need you to speak scripture. We need you to talk experience. We need you to share one another and what you've learned that God is doing in your life. We want it to be intentional. We expect it to be discipline appropriate or service area specific. In other words, I don't need 100 of you preaching every day on the quad. But what I do need is in your daily assignments, in your daily opportunities with students, that you look for a way that is appropriate to integrate your faith. And then time sensitive. It's really important to me. There's so much going on in the world today, so many problems, so many initiatives. If there is a way that you can speak your faith into a situation where God can be glorified, that's what we're hoping that you'll do. And then we want you to feel free to share your faith without borders. In other words, let's say I work in IT and they ask me to do a Bible study in the dorms, or they ask me to write a devotional for an online course. Well, I might say, well, I'm not in that area. But here we are, a faith operating opportunity without borders. If you have an opportunity to engage, maybe you want to be a sponsor of something, maybe you want to participate in that, then we welcome that, because we know that each time we share our faith, we're like sharpening iron with each other. This is not your typical year to start in higher education. I promise you. And I hope you will never have to do this again for another 100 years. But we know that, and we will be here to stand by you. We do share with you, first of all, that we expect you to mask up. And I'll say that again because sometimes my Texas accent gets in the way. You are to wear your masks. We want you to stay 6 feet apart from anyone you're speaking to for more than 15 minutes. Simple. That's a simple rule, but it's hard to do. We are actually engaging with students right now. We have about 300 on the physical campus here in Huntington. And so we're learning that some of the rules and protocols and procedures we put in place, we're going to have to double down on that, or we're going to have to adjust a little bit. And we all will learn that. But masks are not optional. We wear them in every enclosed space, and we wear them until somebody who's in charge of that situation has determined that we have achieved social distance. So just want to encourage you about that. It's not just something we're talking about, it's something we're doing. Well, I want to close with this, Romans 1:8. First, I thank my God through Jesus Christ for all of you, because your faith is being reported all over the world. Today, I guess, I will have the privilege to travel to Adrian, Michigan, and see for the last time someone who's had an amazing impact on Huntington University. I can truly say that Ruth Marilot's faith has been reported all over the world. What I hope that when you conclude your time here at Huntington, that you will feel like you have had an opportunity to impact many lives through Christ's scholarship and service. Thank you for being here. I'm so glad you're a part of that. I hope I get to meet all of you in person, and I look forward to having a chance to get to know you better.
Greetings, everyone, and welcome to Huntington University. We're so glad that you're part of our team now, and hope that your transition has or will go smoothly, as the case may be. I want to talk just a little bit about student life, what that means. As you can imagine, students are in the classroom for a good amount of time during a week, but there's also a large chunk of time that they're out of the classroom. And so student life really represents a lot of those out of the classroom engagements for our students, both with program staff and so forth. So just a quick flyover in terms of the various programs and areas that comprise student life. Residence life is probably maybe our largest part in terms of how it's resourced, and certainly the staffing of that space as well. But residence life is certainly a big part of what we do. Student care and also student conduct, part of what we do. The Friesen Center for Service and Experiential Learning. So when students are seeking internships or faculty are recommending them for those kinds of experiences, then obviously the Friesen Center is a part of where that activity takes place for sure. Career services, also of students wanting to explore sort of that next step after graduation. And that process doesn't always begin their senior year. Quite frankly, we hope it begins maybe as early as their first year on HU's campus, where they really begin to explore what it is they want to do following graduation and so forth. And then obviously international student services is part of what we do as well. Food service is a key part of that as well. We just changed our food service provider to Sodexo, and so they are also transitioning as a new part of our campus community as well. And then finally, I just want to make note of the Academic Center for Excellence, the ACE, if you will, which includes various kinds of academic support, whether it be tutoring, whether it be the writing center, testing, those kinds of things, but also does include work with students with disabilities as well. So again, just quite a long list of areas where students would have an interface with our staff and with our programs as well in student life. I've had the pleasure of serving here at university for the past 35 years, and still believe that there's some really, really great years ahead of HU here. So look forward to that as well. Our office is located in Low Bren on the first floor, and that is just for the fall semester. We'll be transitioning to the newly renovated hub as soon as January, we believe. And so we're excited about that new space as well, but I've loved our time in Low Bren. So it's a privilege to have all of you here today, and hopefully get a chance to actually meet you in person very, very soon. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Coffey. All right, we're going to, if I can find him here, we're going to transition over to Dr. Fetters for his welcome.
Hey there, welcome everybody. Glad to have you with us. Glad you're part of the HU family. I'm the Vice President for Academic Affairs and Dean of the Faculty here at Huntington University. And in that, I have responsibility for helping to oversee basically the academic functions of the institution. So that would have to do with the faculty, the curriculum, new program development, the academic spaces on campus, work closely with the registrar's office and the other academic administrative staff to make sure that we're serving students well, and then also interacting with the librarian to make sure that we're providing the resources that students need to research and to explore their disciplines adequately. Those of you who need to contact my office, you'll likely be reaching out to me through Kathy Trout, who's the executive assistant here in the Dean's area. I guess the part that I just want to communicate, this is building beyond a little bit what Dr. Emberton already said, is that as a Christian liberal arts university, we have the opportunity to address every realm of human experience in our exploration of our discipline. And I think that's what sets us apart from a state school or a school that has a different mission than we do. It kind of goes like this. If God is the creator and sustainer of everything that exists, and we believe that as Christians, and if sin is the fundamental problem of a fallen world, and the effects of sin is the fundamental problem of a fallen world, and if all knowledge is integrated, meaning that you know the various realms of our life and experience interact with each other, then it is appropriate for us to consider all of these dimensions, to bring God into the equation and to bring the effects of sin into the equation as we study each and every discipline. My goal for sort of our response to the context around us is that we would maintain a market responsive posture while staying true to the Christ-centered mission and the liberal arts heritage of Huntington University. And my prayer for faculty as well as staff would be that we would sense God's pleasure as we partner with the Holy Spirit and the full body of Christ in the spiritual transformation of the students that God has placed into our sphere of influence. If there are ways that I can help you as we move forward into this semester, please feel free to reach out again through Kathy Trout, who's the executive assistant here in the dean's office. Blessings.
Thank you, Dr. Fetters. All right. The one and only Reverend Arthur Wilson. It's all you.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the family. It's good to have you. I am Arthur Wilson, Dean of Spiritual Life and Campus Pastor here at Huntington University, entering my 11th year. And one of the missions that I am so proud to champion here at the institution is to help our students make progress in terms of their spiritual walk, regardless of where they come in originally. Whether they're an unbeliever at first, we want to see them grow. Whether they're a Christian, we want to see them become lifelong followers and disciples of Jesus Christ. At Huntington, we value and appreciate the role that relationships play in helping a spiritual formation happen. And so one of the things that we try to do, not from the Office of Campus Ministries, our new name is the Center for Spiritual Formation in Intercultural Enrichment. One of the things we feel is essential to helping us accomplish that mission is equipping people just like you with the resources and tools that you need, because we understand the value and significance that you bring into every student's lives. And so we also help to equip our students. We have some amazing student leaders who serve throughout our center. We have our CMCs, our campus ministry coordinators, who are on each residence hall floor, and they provide prayer support. They provide all kinds of activities and floor worships and Bible studies. And this year, some watch parties for our chapel services that we hope will pour into the lives of their peers. We also have Joyful Noise, which is our student-led worship team that you'll get the privilege of hearing. They're an amazing group of young men and women who are using their talents to glorify God in the artistic realm. And so we are excited about that, but we're also excited about what we're doing in terms of our cultural competency. We are in the process of putting together a 12 to 18 month cultural competency plan, which kind of leads into our interest in intercultural enrichment. Here at Huntington University, we take great pride in the fact that we are represented by a diversity of people who reflect the kingdom of God. And we understand the value and significance that each member of God's kingdom brings to this community. And as we continue to look to the future and grow and value who we are right now, we understand that there are some things that we hope to do to help all of our members of our community feel valued, respected, and a part of this great mission that we have here at HU. And so I get to oversee the fine staff who's actually a part of this, China Presley, who's going to help lead us in that effort. And so we're excited here. I want you to know too that although a big majority of our focus is on the college student, we're also here for you, and we hope to provide you with some self-care resources through some outlets that we're going to be announcing here later. That's going to help you be successful in taking care of yourself. We can only take students as far as we are. And in this time of COVID and other things that we're dealing with, trying to navigate through, we are not ignorant of the need that we all have to make sure that not only our spiritual health is where it needs to be, but emotional stability and our personal well-being is a priority. So look for some exciting announcements and resources that we're going to be producing from this office to help you along the way.
Thank you so much, Arthur. All right, Adam Skiles is up next.
Yes, I am Adam Skiles. I am the Chief Information Officer at Huntington University. I oversee the Information and Technology Services Office, also shortly known as IT Services Office. So what I like to say is we take care of it. If you need help with it, you need help finding it, it needs to be fixed, then you contact us. And later on in our orientation today, I'll talk about details of all the different services we provide as well as everything else. But just know that we're here to help you. No question is too small. No problem is too great. I have a great and amazing staff, and we service all locations: Arizona, Fort Wayne, and Indiana, Huntington as well. So we just do feel free to reach out to us if you need anything, especially as you're getting acclimated to your new position, your new duties, your new roles. And you can always contact us by calling us on your phone, by just dialing help on your phone, 4357. That gets to our help desk, and we'll be there to help. So we'll talk more in a little while.
Thank you so much. All right, Connie Bonner, you are up.
Hello and welcome. I am so excited for each one of you. Some of you have been around maybe for a little bit of time, and some of you are brand new, and we're just welcoming you to HU and to the team. And I'm Connie Bonner. I'm the Vice President for Finance and the Treasurer here at Huntington University. It's been about 1.5 years that I've been in the Vice President role, so I'm still getting my feet on the ground, but finding it a great place to be. And just enjoying working with the senior leadership team and Dr. Emberton and my staff in this role. So I just want to tell you just real briefly, what does the Office of Business and Finance do, and what does it matter to you? Well, I can say the first thing that's important to you is your payroll. And I know that you've probably already figured out that we're the office where you're going to come for payroll. And so we answer all the payroll questions. We make sure your payroll gets in your bank account, and we help guide you through all of that. We also take care of human resources. And I know that most of you have probably either spoken to or met Jean Cole and Pam Rudy, and they are both the key people for human resources in our office and can answer your benefit questions and all of those types of questions. And then also we pay things and we take money in. So we are happy to pay bills and things that you have. And so you would send that our way. We also can reimburse you if you've had an expense that's been related to the university that you need to be reimbursed for. We have cashiers in our office that will be happy to help you. And we also take care of budgets. And so if you are going to be overseeing a budget, you're going to be talking to our office and contacting us on that. And let's see, and student accounts. That's the key. You send your students here if they've got a question about their tuition or their bills or a fine or something that they need to deal with that has to do with finances in their accounts. This is the place to come. We are located in Becker Hall, if you haven't been here, and we are on the first floor, right next to the dean's office and just down the hall from the president's office. So we welcome you to come on by and give us a call or email us if you need something. I do want to take just a quick minute to tell you that Jean is not here with us today. I know all the emails and communication have been coming from Jean. I would ask that you would pray for her. She had a bicycle accident this weekend, and she's pretty beat up. And so just keep her in your prayers, and hopefully you'll get to see her soon. She did warn that when we do see her, we will be shocked because she hit her face. And so as you can imagine, she is really having a tough time right now. So just keep her in your prayers. And if there's anything that we can do for you in the business office, just stop on by and we'll be happy to help you. Glad to have you here.
Thank you so much. All right, Danny Solms.
Great. Thank you, Lynette. Welcome, everyone. Good afternoon and good morning to those that are out in our Peoria campus. It's great to have you here as part of Huntington University. I serve as the Vice President for Enrollment and Marketing, and it's a privilege to work here and to be a part of what we do. I work with a lot of really great people. I'll share a little bit the department leader and what each department does. Suzanne Watson is our Director of Undergraduate Admissions, and she's got a team of 8 that work really hard to recruit students to the main campus here in Huntington, and doing a great job this year. Lisa Montney is the Director of Financial Aid, and she and her team work with financial aid for all of our students, undergrad, graduate, doctoral, professional programs. And so many of you may know them or interact with them, and appreciate them and all that they do. Lynette, who's leading us today, privileged to work with her as she leads university relations for all of our marketing and public relations needs. And Lynette will do a great job, her team helping you if you're putting out print pieces or other things, and making sure that we have a good, consistent brand that tells the story of who Huntington University is. So thankful for her team and the work that they do with website and many other things. Nathan Hartman is our Director of Graduate and Adult Online Admissions, and he and his team work really hard, having a good year, and appreciate all that they do. And then finally, last but not least, Isaac Barber, who's one of the new people here. Isaac is our Director of Student Success, and we've got, if we totaled them up, we've probably got about 13 or 14 people that work to recruit new students. And Isaac's job is to recruit all of our current students to return. He works in the area of student success or retention, and appreciate him and looking forward to getting to know him better as he works to help us get better at that. And then I also have the privilege of working with some of the staff like Tiffany Swartz out in Peoria, and the good work that they do recruiting students out there, appreciative of all of them. And so I would just encourage you, the people that I named, when you have the opportunity to meet them, introduce yourself to me. If you see me around campus, would love to meet you. And we know that everyone that's a part of Huntington University plays a key part in helping us recruit and retain students. You've heard it said that it takes a village to raise a child. And there's truth in that. It also takes an entire campus to recruit a student body. And so we need faculty, we need staff, we need others who will just simply share the love of Christ and do their jobs well. And so just to encourage you that what you do plays a big part. And just end with the idea that I'm also the father of a sophomore here at Huntington. My daughter is by no means any more special than any other students here, but having my own children be students at Huntington just emphasizes to me the importance of the many conversations that they have in a day with faculty, with staff, and others. And so know that what you do is important and has a big impact on the lives of our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Danny, so much. All right, Mr. Stephen Weingart.
Good afternoon and good morning for those of you out in Arizona. My name is Stephen Weingart. I'm privileged to serve as Vice President for University Advancement. And if you're new to higher ed, you might say, what in the world does that mean? Well, it means that we're focused traditionally more externally than internally. We do community relations, alumni relations, and fundraising. So my team spends a lot of time communicating or visiting with people and constituent groups that are off campus. So the last several months have been a little bit of a challenge, having to do that via Zoom and phone almost exclusively, but it's been good the last month or so to start getting back in front of our constituents, at least some face-to-face. Our team, probably the biggest thing that's happening for our team right now, not probably, but it is a comprehensive campaign called Step Forward. It was launched out of the Faith Forward 2022 strategic plan that Dr. Emberton mentioned earlier. And we launched the public phase of the campaign, which we're calling Step Forward, last October. And to date, we have raised over $37 million to support Huntington University. That has helped to fund new and expanded programs, some of which some of you are part of. The Forrester Fund, which you will hear more about shortly from Marcy Hawkins, who's one of my team members. We've increased the endowment by more than $5 million. We've also done planned gifts, people that are leaving the university in their estate, and also raising money for capital. So if you've been around the physical campus in Huntington, the project of the hub reimagination, the building of the Don Strauss Animal Science Education Center, the physical building in Peoria, as well as Randalia campus, those are all capital items that our team helped fund in part. Why might you reach out to our group? If you are looking for a grant opportunity or to do a fundraiser, those might be reasons that you would reach out to us. If you want to connect someone to HU, someone you think we should meet, we certainly would welcome an introduction. And also, if you're desiring to have interaction with some alums, whether you need our help reaching out to them or you're going to host them on campus, we would love to know that and to partner with you in that. So I would say that the three words that really describe our team well are collaboration, partnership, and hospitality. And just to piggyback on something that Danny said, where we desire, covet interaction and help from everybody in recruiting students, we desire that same thing in showing hospitality to all of our constituents, whether it's during homecoming or year round. So look forward to meeting all of you in person that I haven't met yet. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. Dr. Russ Degetz, it is all you.
Hi, Foresters. My name is Russ Degetz, and I have the privilege to serve as the Chief Operating Officer here at Huntington University. I joined the university professionally just a little over a year ago, so I am pretty fresh to my role, but have been kind of baptized by fire, just like anybody else that has been in this role over the last year. So it's certainly exciting to be a part of such a great team, and looking forward to meeting each one of you if I have not done that yet, and excited to have you on board. I'm going to share just a few of the areas that I work with, just so you have an idea of what you can come to me for assistance with, or kind of who to turn to if you have questions. I will say that our operations team gets together every Wednesday morning to make sure that we not only are on the same page in terms of projects we're completing or things that we need to address, but also trying to stay ahead of the curve when it comes to things that are coming up on campus. So we do try and stay in close conversation with each other to make sure that things happen the way that they should and can here on campus. I like to think of our team from the operations standpoint of kind of being the grease that makes the motor of Huntington University work. You don't always see it, but you know if it's not there. And so when we have big events and when we do the day-to-day here, our operations team will a lot of times do behind the scenes types of things, but it's very critical to what the university mission is. So the areas of responsibility that I work alongside and work with would be athletics. I work very closely with our athletics director, Coach Lori Kohler. Also work with Adam for IT, and we coordinate on a lot of the things around campus that really makes things work. And they had their presence felt maybe more than ever last spring when we went virtual on a lot of things. I also work with a group on campus that helps us to understand risk management to make sure that we're not only addressing things that may pop up in terms of accidents or concerns, but also getting ahead of issues. And we work with a collaborative group really across the state to make sure that our campus is as safe as it can be. I also work with the strategic planning for campus. It's been mentioned a few times, but our Faith Forward 2022 plan is what drives our university in terms of our decision-making and resource allocation. We're looking to not only review that on an ongoing basis, but also come 2022, have a new plan that will pick up the torch when our current Faith Forward plan expires. I also work with our contracted and auxiliary service providers, our building and grounds. We contract with, for our building and facilities, National Management Group. Marcy Knopfsiger is our on-site facilities director. For our grounds and landscaping, we partner with Clooney Landscaping. I also work with food service, as Ron mentioned earlier. He works with a lot of the student experience side of that, but Sodexo is our partner there. We also have our on-campus bookstore. Our partner is Follett for that. And our bookstore is currently located just as you enter the Richland Library, but just as the student life offices will, the bookstore will relocate in December or January when the hub renovations are completed in preparation for the spring semester. I also help to oversee our mail services on campus and outgoing mail, and finally our vehicles. And so if you need any vehicle for trips or trainings or those types of things, of course, that's going to be a little limited here in the fall, but I help to oversee our motor pool fleet for that. My office is located on the first floor of Becker Hall. It's behind the door that reads Administrative Services. That's also where you can find Dr. Emberton, our president, and Peg Diebolt, our administrative assistant. So feel free to stop by when you have an opportunity. Again, very much looking forward to an opportunity to meet each one of you and work alongside of you, and we'll be happy to assist in any way that I can.
Thank you so much. All right. Now we move over to Chief Kirsch Cochran to hear more about campus safety.
Yeah, it's first off, just really good to maybe not see everyone, but to introduce myself to everyone, because kind of like Russ, I was in everyone else's shoes just last year as a new hire. And so as I learned this job and what it means to be a chief of campus police and safety here at Huntington University, I want to reiterate throughout my presentation that this is genuinely a community effort, that I can't be everywhere at one time, neither can my officers. And so it's super important that we all kind of take accountability when it comes to campus safety. To introduce myself again, I'm Kirsch Cochran. I'm the official title is the Chief of Campus Police and Safety. You can just call me Kirsch or Chief Cochran if you see me. Those numbers there, the one that I would really want to highlight is the campus police phone number. That number is the 224-1412. I'm going to stay here for a second. I would encourage you to put that number in your phone, maybe put it as one of your favorites, because when you need campus police, you often need that expedited, and you don't want to have to be Googling or going to our app, which I'll get to try to find that number. You want that number to be readily accessible. I always tell people, if you have an office phone, maybe set it as one of your one button pushes there on that home screen on your office phone. So that way, when you need us, we can be there. I'll probably touch on it again, but when I took this position, the three pillars that I wanted to define the Huntington University Police Department are accessibility, visibility, and connectivity. Accessibility, when you need us, I want us to be there. I never want you to get a voicemail when you call campus police, because that's not the way real police works, right? When you need us, we need to be there. We need to be accessible. We need to be visible. So much of what we do can be prevented by just being visible, by just being around. And then connectivity. I want to be involved on campus. I want people to see me, and I want to build that relationship ahead of time. Whereas when a student or a staff member needs me, that they feel comfortable to come to either myself or one of my officers to talk about our department as a whole. I'm very proud to say that Huntington University is an incredibly safe campus. We have a Tier 1 ILEA certified law enforcement agency. What that means is that we have the same arrest powers and jurisdiction as any police agency in the state. We act as an assisting agency a lot for calls in the Huntington area. I work very closely with Chief Chad Hacker with the Huntington Police Department, Sheriff Chris Newton of Huntington County, to really figure out not just how we can make our campus the safest campus, but the community and the area around it. We want to impact the houses, the homes, the roadways around this campus to really make it not just the safest campus, but the safest area in Northeast Indiana. So moving along, I'll touch on this protocol. We're not going to watch the video. You can watch it in your own time. But I do think it's important that we talk about one of the reasons, or one of those questions that I get a lot is active shooter stuff. And I get it. I understand it. But for me and my team, we're prepared, make no mistake, for an active shooter. But what we don't want to do is sort of put all of our eggs in one basket and just over prepare for the active shooter and neglect some of the issues that campus police is going to encounter that statistically is more likely to happen on a college campus. And I'll talk to that in a bit. But let's say we do have that worst case scenario and there's an active shooter. We have instituted a run, hide, fight protocol here at Huntington University. And I don't want to talk down to you. It is exactly what it sounds like. When you are in an active shooter scenario, or there's an active shooter scenario or a lockdown in your particular building or area, we want you to run. We want you to get out if you safely can. Get out of that building, get out of that area. If you can't do that, we want you to hide. That involves barricading a door, and we'll get to that also in a minute. And hide, make yourself small, almost invisible. And last but not, what we really don't want you to ever have to do is fight and put yourself in harm's way. We want you to be able to connect with us, and we've got the resources and tools that we can actively go and neutralize that threat. But that's kind of what I talked about. The couple of things that you need to know when it comes to run, hide, fight that are really important, or any situation that you would encounter, is call or text 911. A lot of people don't know this. It is super important. You can text 911 in Huntington County. I don't know about Peoria. I can find out. But in Huntington County or in Fort Wayne, if you're one of our OTD employees, you can actually text 911 and be directly connected to a dispatcher. Let them know what's going on, what your location is. When I say location, it's important that you know the name of your building, but many of our local first responders, if you say Low Bryn, they may not know what Low Bryn is. Now, dispatchers have a campus map and they can come up with that, but it's really important that you know your building's number. On every building on our campus here in Huntington, we have a big green sign on the exterior of that building. Know that building number and be able to know, if someone asks you what your building number is, so that way when you're in a critical incident, something happening and you need police, that you can just say, I'm in building 7 or whatever that is. Also know where your emergency response guide is. Russ and his team they've done an absolutely phenomenal job at putting emergency response guides throughout all of these buildings that really are like an instruction manual for when things are going bad and thinking gets hard. Because that's what happens. When things get bad, thinking gets hard. And so take your time, familiarize yourself with the space around you, find out where the AED is in your building. There's an AED in almost every building. You don't want to be looking for it when you need it. You want to know where that's at. And this is really what I want to touch on because, once again, we talk about active shooters, but these things right here are statistically what's more likely to happen on a college campus. These are statistically the things that you're going to encounter or could encounter that would need police intervention. And the first thing is, unfortunately, one of the most heartbreaking, but statistics on workplace domestic violence are absolutely astronomical, and you'd be very surprised. And I think the best way to combat this is really kind of like what Dr. Emberton was saying, and that we really need to just love on one another. And if you know of an incident that someone in your work area, in your office, that's going through, whether there's a protective order, they're going through a divorce, some sort of situation like that, that you think this could spill into the work, this could get bad, or I don't feel comfortable for that person's safety, give us a call. I think at this point we've graduated out of the gossip conversation. We've got into, let's get this person some resources and some attention that they need so they can safely get through this tough time that they're in. So domestic violence is something that we really need to be aware of. It is a Christian campus, but surprise, surprise, we're going to run into drug and alcohol abuse. I would encourage you, if you encounter a student or a staff member that is under the influence of alcohol, drugs, or anything like that, you just call campus police. We're trained to deal with those things and get that person the help or the resource that they need. And oftentimes we'll also see some disorderly conduct. Sometimes with our students, as you know, that's not always drug and alcohol related. Sometimes students can just be disorderly, and we can safely respond to that. Where our goal is not to put handcuffs on anyone, but maybe just to wrangle up some right hall boys and get them back on the third floor, if that's what we need to do, and encourage them to go meet with their RA and find some programming or something to do on campus. But the last thing that we'll really, what we'll see the most of, unfortunately, is theft and property crimes. If you have something that's gone missing and you suspect that there's some criminal activity afoot and it was a theft, please reach out to our office. We can fill out some theft paperwork and get that documented right away. So this is important, lockdown procedures, and I'm thinking Adam may talk about the campus alert system at some point. If he doesn't, let me just quickly let you know, the campus alert system, make sure you sign up for that and you're notified if there's anything that's happening on campus. That could be weather related, that could be incident related here at Huntington University. But if we're in a lockdown situation, we want all exterior and interior doors locked. And once again, this is not just active shooter situation. This could be weather related. And the campus alert system will let you know. And one thing I do want to kind of show you is in all of our classrooms here on the Huntington campus, we have a door barricade. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. It looks like this right here. There'll be a little plastic box near the door jamb. And inside that plastic box is the red piece that you see. And already in the floor and already on the door are the two brackets. It's really easy. If we go into a lockdown situation, please just drop that door barricade in, and that will secure that door. And then you can turn off those lights and hide and do whatever it is you need to do to safely respond to whatever critical incident is happening at the time. Once again, campus alert system. I like I said, I'm pretty sure Adam is going to go over this. Lynette, maybe give me a nod if he is.
Yes.
Perfect. I'm not gonna belabor that. It's just very, very, very important that you get signed up for that. A lot of times people will preface a phone call to campus police in one of the best ways possible. Hey, I don't know if you guys need to know about this, or I don't know if I should have called you about this. Anytime someone prefaces that, I can guarantee they are doing the right thing and calling us, because it's usually something ridiculous. I don't know if I should tell you this, but there's a strange man walking on campus. Please let us know if something like that has happened. If there's a suspicious person on campus, if there's someone that you don't think belongs, if something just doesn't seem right, give us a call. And what we'll do is we will just go start a conversation. That's what all of my officers are trained to do, is start with just dialogue and conversation and really ascertain and discern what that person is there for, why they're in our buildings, our facilities, walking down our mall, hanging out in our quad, whatever it may be. And more times than not, it's a neighbor walking the dog or something like that, and we can meet them and get to know a neighbor. So please call us if you see something that just seems out of place. If you need an escort to your car, something like that, if you need an escort from a building and it's after dark, if you're working late, you're getting that overtime pay, give us a call. We'll get you where you need to be safely. We also do limited response. I know this weekend we got kind of slammed at one point with some stuff that was happening in the city. And there was at one point a 2-hour wait, unfortunately, for keys locked in cars. So the students are back on campus. They are still locking their keys in their car. So everything is going well here at Huntington University. So if you get your keys locked in your car, if you need a jump start, reach out to us. And like I said, it's not going to be necessarily the top of our list, but we'll let you know when we can get there and we can help you out. Any other non-emergency concerns, questions, stuff like that, if you want to give me that tip and let me know, hey, this person in my office is going through a tough time, they might need some resources, just let us know. If there's a fire, maybe call 911 first. I'm not a firefighter, but I can get over there to you and maybe help you evacuate. But let's get the guys in the trucks that everyone likes over there first, and then I can respond. And I just want to reiterate, please trust your gut. I mean, I think every situation we have that gut feeling and we think, something doesn't feel right. I really want to stress that because, rarely do emergencies announce themselves and say, we require campus police, And so trust that gut and just feel it out. And you're never going to upset me by calling me and saying something doesn't feel right. Call 911 if you have that medical emergency. If you're utilizing the AED, call 911. I'm always connected to Huntington City Dispatch. So even if you do go straight to 911, they're going to let me know via radio, police radio, and I can mobilize in your area. There's always the reminders to wrap things up. Be aware of your surroundings. If you see something, say something. Try not to walk alone at night. If you can help it. We have a safe campus, but we don't want to create soft targets. We don't want to make ourselves easy targets. And make sure you save that campus police number in your phone, 224-1412. Please save it. Have it readily accessible. We are also on the app. If you have the Huntington University app, which I think Adam will also talk to you about, we are basically one click away from you if you utilize that app, which is something I'm very, very proud of. And so it is it's incredible that we can be that accessible here. And I want to leave you with something that Dr. Emberton told me when I first started, that it stuck with me, and I've been a police officer for almost 6 years now, and it really shifted my perception. Was we only get one shot to do campus safety wrong. And I thought that was incredible because if something seems off, if something seems wrong, if you feel like you need us, if you feel like one of our students is in a harmful relationship situation, they become a victim of sexual assault, you only get one shot to do it wrong. So please don't do that. Please call me. Please utilize our services. Once again, we're a fully vested police department with 17 officers. We've got the resources to help you with whatever it is that you need. Because like I said, the safety of Huntington University is absolutely a community partnership. I cannot do it without all of you. Welcome. It's so good to have you guys. I'm excited to finally get back to a normal feeling of campus. And I'll tell you, if you've been around, at least Huntington, the students are back on campus, and the energy level is up. It feels alive again, and it's fun to come to work in this environment. So blessings to you all. Have a great year. Please feel free to introduce yourself. I know cops can be intimidating, but we're not. Actually, sorry, Lynette. One last thing I do want to touch on while this conversation is happening, and it's quite serious. If you interact with one of my officers and you don't feel like you got the best possible service, please reach out to me. I've already had some people say, hey, I had this interaction with the officer. He seemed kind of short, or he seemed kind of rude, or whatever it is. If something didn't sit right with you with the way the officer handled your particular issue, or you saw something that bothered you about one of my police officers, you're never going to offend me. And I promise you, I will always look into that and figure out and get to the bottom of what exactly happened. And I'll take the actions necessary, because now more than ever, police accountability is important. And it's something I take very, very seriously. So again, I'm wrapping up, Lynette, but I appreciate you all. Have a great year.
Thank you so much. All right. We are going to kick it over then to Mr. Adam Skiles yet again to learn more about IT and all things IT related.
Oh yes, all things IT, which was just great and wonderful. I'm sure everybody's just on pins and needles waiting to see what comes next. So a few things I do want to share with you today is just basically some of the services we provide, how to get in touch with us regarding those services, those types of things. So First off, welcome to HU. So some of the things we're going to talk about just real quick is one, how to get in touch with the help desk. I talked a little bit about that earlier. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. We're going to talk about voice services, which you may be familiar with, printing services, the emergency notification system with Kirsch, which Kirsch mentioned earlier. We're going to talk about a little bit about information security, and you did receive some documentation probably in your packets regarding that. We're going to talk a little bit about the HU portal and also the HU mobile app, which also Kirsch mentioned as well. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and just dig right into it. And so with this, our help desk is located physically in Huntington, Indiana, our main campus, although we do have student employees in Arizona who are assisting us this year. We do also have typically Eric Luce, who is helping us there. He's going to be on some leave here before too long. And so we're going to have some student employees there who will be assisting us there in Arizona. But the main help desk is in Huntington, Indiana. There you can see our email address. You can get a hold of us, or also by phone. If you send us an email, it automatically creates a help desk ticket in our ticketing system and allows my staff to get notified and access and address your issue as quickly as possible. Same thing with our phone. If you call us on the phone and nobody answers, if you leave a message, it automatically creates a ticket for us with your message attached and allows us to address your issue as quickly as possible as well. So as you can all probably know, this time of year is a busy time of year for both my staff and for many of you. So I ask just that you provide them grace. We may not be able to maybe answer your call right off the bat, but certainly if you leave that message and whatnot, my staff is very great at getting back to you quickly and getting your issue resolved. Okay. So outside of that, so really much for any question or anything you need, recommend go to the help desk first. And we're going to be communicating pretty regularly throughout the year, giving you some tips on how you can do different things, maybe also providing some training and some other resources available to you as well. But certainly if you have a problem and you're in a pinch, you need some help, please contact our help desk. Our help desk is 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, Eastern time. Although we will have, again, student employees assisting us in Arizona this year that will allow us to kind of meet more at 8 to 5 their time as well. With that, we're going to move on and we're going to talk about voice services. So I'm not going to really talk a whole lot. We have just basically, you're provided phone access. Usually you are provided an extension. With extension, also all employees are provided the access and use of a mobile app called MaxUC. That allows you to access your voicemail, allows you to make calls and receive calls from your office phone, all right from your own personal mobile device, which is really nice and handy. There is documentation that we have that provides you to do that. I'm going to show you some of those areas where that documentation is located and also how to use some of those things. So some other pieces that we do as well is printing services. We have printers all across all of our campuses and locations. They all function under the same system, so it's very easy to use. You will be able to scan your ID badge at the machine to be able to print off whatever you sent to the printer. We have one printer really across all our locations called the HU printer. And that HU printer is basically any one of the printers. Doesn't matter which one. You set up your print job, you send it to print. You can then walk up to a machine, scan your ID badge, print off your document, and away you go. And that printer, that machine doesn't even need to be in the same building you're in. It can be in a completely different floor, completely different building, different area, but it's going to be there waiting for you. That's just how the system works. And we've designed it to be as user-friendly as possible. With these machines as well, also know these machines will also allow you to copy, and they will also allow you to scan. These pieces will allow you to scan documents both to your email or even scan a document to your OneDrive account. So that's very helpful as well. So printing services. Some of the other things, like Kirsch talked about, we talked about our emergency notification system. Okay, I'm going to jump in the portal after a little bit, and I'm going to show you some things where some of these are, and I'll point out where some of these locations are. But we use a system called Blackboard Connect. And with that, there's a sign-up process on this portal. And probably by the end of tomorrow, for everybody who's new, you should be able to go ahead and sign up for your emergency notification account. And this allows you to decide how you want to be contacted in the event of an emergency, whether you receive an email, whether you receive a phone call, whether you receive a text message. So if you go to this portal, you'll provide your HU email address when you sign up. You'll confirm your HU employee ID number. And those things you'll need to have with you and available to you when you sign up. Now, also with the emergency notification system, I'll let you know as well, typically there are color codes that we use to designate different types of emergencies. Green obviously means everything is good. Everything's in good order. We're in standard operating procedures. There is no emergency. Yellow, whenever we issue a yellow alert, typically that means that there is something either like a boil water advisory, or maybe we have a power outage that is non-life threatening or not a major emergency. So those pieces are typically yellow alerts, just mostly make you aware of the situation that is occurring on campus. So it may be impacting either to the classes you're teaching or to the office or the space in which you're working. So just want to kind of keep you in the loop of those types of things. So that's what yellow typically is used for. Orange is typically used for weather-related emergencies. So an orange emergency typically is something, again, not used too often, but orange is typically such as thunderstorms, tornadoes, those types of things. So we'll use the orange alert to designate weather-related emergencies of a serious nature. Typically, we're not going to necessarily tell you every time there's necessarily a thunderstorm warning, but certainly in the event of a tornado or other things that are of a serious nature that have an imminent impact to a particular facility, then there will possibly be a notification. And notifications are sent out by location or possibly to everyone, depending upon what it is. And there's a special team that makes decisions on how those notifications go out, when they're sent out, and so on and so forth. And also then red. Red is typically in the event of where maybe we have an active shooter on campus or something that is certainly of more imminent danger, a little bit higher risk or whatnot. So that was typically what is deemed as a red alert. So you will notice at the beginning of an alert message, it will say either code yellow, code orange, code red, just to kind of let you know right off the top that, oh, this is the type of emergency we're talking about here. Okay. With these, you can also opt to not only add your own contact information to the system, but you can also add in contact information for your spouses or other family members if you want them to be contacted as well. So you can add as many numbers, email addresses, whether both personal or work related, totally up to you. By default, we will include your HU office number as well as your employee email address to be notified. So those will be in there. And that is the same for our students. For our students, we by default put in their HU email address, but we don't provide any other number just because they have to authorize how they want to be contacted. So students need to go through this same process as well. So that's good for you to know for those of you in the classroom. So maybe also make sure that your students, hey, especially new students, hey, have you signed up for the emergency notification system yet? Oh, you haven't? Well, hey, you need to make sure to go ahead and do that. Okay. Some other items also related to safety and security wise is information security. Okay. So information security, it's more than just passwords. And with passwords, obviously, of course, certainly you don't want to share your passwords. You want to make sure they're secure, those types of things. In your documents you received as part of your packet for employee orientation, there were 2 documents we provided related to information security. One is related to password security, also how to secure your devices, and what sort of resources and policies we have in place. So be sure to review those documents. If you do have any questions about that information or about information security just in general, then certainly feel free just to contact our help desk and we'll be more than happy to address any questions that you have. Also with information security is really, everyone is an important part of the information security program. So you also play a part in this. In fact, oftentimes, most security breaches, as you look out some of the major security breaches that have come out over the past few years, most of them have either been to human error or some type of other preventable piece that could have occurred based on some sort of human action. So certainly being aware of what you should be doing, how you're sharing information, where you're putting information, how it's being stored and secured is very important. If you have any questions about that or questions like not sure, kind of like that gut feeling that Kirsch talked about to some degree, is if you're not really sure, is this really what I should do? Should I be doing this? This is kind of sensitive information. Maybe I should be doing something else with this information. Certainly feel free to reach out to us and we'll be more happy to help you with any questions you have regarding that. And so in those documents, we kind of talk about how you can help and what you need to do if you need help, how to contact us, various pieces like that. So certainly there, I want to go ahead and share that with you. So another piece that we're going to talk about today is the portal. And with the HU portal, the HU portal is a really key informational resource for all employees and students as well. This is where we post a lot of resources. It's where there's a lot of links to a lot of key resources that you will need. And I'm going to show you around just a little bit with this portal today, not take a whole lot of time, but just hit some of the highlights of the portal so you can be sure that you can easily find maybe some of those key pieces that you need. So I'm going to go ahead and share my portal screen with you here and just walk you through a couple things here. So with this, on the homepage of the portal, now I'm here logged in as the Honorable Dr. Luke Fetters, just to kind of be an example of what it's like to be as an employee. But over here to the left, there are certain resources available when you're not logged in. When you're not logged in, you can also always find your username, or if you're logged in, you can also find, hey, what is my employee ID or what is my student ID? Anyone, once they're logged into the portal, can click on what's my ID, and then a page will return what your ID is. In addition to that, there are a lot of quick links off to the left here. And these quick links off to the left give you lots of resources, one directly to the HU public website, links to your HU email, to Moodle, to Zoom. And everyone is provided with access to Zoom. You can log in with your HU email address and HU password. Access to library resources. If you need to reset your password, there's a quick link here to take you to a resource on how to reset your password, or if you're not set up, maybe enrolled and set up your security questions, this is where you could go to do that. Also, we talked about emergency notifications. If you're not sure, don't recall that link that's been provided or been posted in various places across campus, then you can always click on this emergency notifications here, and it'll take you and tell you what you need to do next to go ahead and sign up or access on how to log in and then maybe change notifications. Maybe you have a new phone number, or maybe you want to add a new phone or an additional email address, you can do that. Also, you can go to maintenance request here. Also, the IT help desk is here. If you click this, you can log into the help desk to submit a help desk request. When you do that, you'll log in with your HU username and HU password, of course, those types of things. So a few other things up here at the top is one of the other tabs I want to talk about, a couple of them, is personnel and resources. The personnel tab is a tab that is basically available to all personnel. And it gives you information on a lot of different resources from both the business office, student life, and also from IT services and others. So in here, we have a lot of information, how to look up information about maybe financial accounts you have access to, again, being able to do a maintenance request, doing a vehicle reservation. If you need to reserve a vehicle for a trip or whatnot, again, we're not doing a whole lot of traveling these days, but when that does come back, if you need to reserve a vehicle for some type of activity, whether in the classroom or outside, then certainly vehicle reservation options are there. You can also see employee directories, student photo directories, which are very helpful to get to know your students or fellow colleagues better, as looking at some of these directories, and they're updated on an annual basis. Many other resources here, lots of documents. When you get a chance, highly recommend going through, seeing what's available so you can get familiar with those. And there are also lots of resources off to the left side as well. Again, link off to emergency notifications if you need it, as well as other things. Another piece is our resources. In IT services, we've created some frequently asked question resources for our users. And this is both students, faculty, and staff. So in this particular case, as you can see here under the resources, we have links here to common resources that are needed by staff. So if you're staff, we've kind of put some information here, as well as links to knowledge-based articles we've created to help give you additional support on how to set things up, on how to do different things. So certainly it's very helpful there. Also information about Microsoft OneDrive. For those of you who don't know, Microsoft OneDrive is a basically cloud-based storage utility that we give to all students and all employees. Each employee and each student has up to 5 terabytes of online storage they can use. Very similar to Dropbox if you've ever used Dropbox before. So that is available to you. Microsoft Teams, bookings, and these talk about what some of these tools will do for you and what they'll allow you to do. And certainly if you have additional questions, you can always reach out to the help desk. Zoom, all those types of things. So definitely highly recommend you take a look at these FAQs. And also there's are FAQs available to students as well. So certainly if you run into where you have a student who's having a problem like, hey, I'm not sure how to do this, or how do I access this, or how do I do this, whether, and if it's IT related, they can certainly come to this resources page. And from here, they can go ahead and see a lot of the frequently asked questions we've given to them, as well as maybe videos or tutorials on how to do different things and set up things for themselves. Another thing is there's also a series of useful links off to the side here that maybe dig a little bit deeper into many different resources, maybe a little deeper than just the quick links off to the side. One thing that is new this year that I do want to point out is the ability to also reserve. We have on the main campus here, we have various tents and spaces available for you to kind of reserve to have time either with your students, or maybe you want to reserve a time for your colleagues to meet and discuss maybe a project or something you're working on. So in here, you can go directly to click on this under bookings. You can book a tent. And our larger tents have some options for technology resources available to them. The smaller tents do not here in the main campus. We also have added a link to reserve time near a fire pit. So if you and your staff or you and your fellow faculty want to do a little fireside chat, there you go, right there. You can reserve a spot. Okay, so those are just a few of the new things within that. And so next I want to talk about the HU mobile app, which again was alluded to earlier. And the HU mobile app is a great tool. Again, it's available both on the Apple App Store and Google Play. And let me go ahead and share that with you. In 1 second. There we go. So again, like I said, it's available in the Apple App Store, available in Google Play. So many great resources in the app. Students can view their schedules. Faculty can also view their class schedules. Students can actually see who their advisor is. And when it's time for them to even be available to register for classes, they can use the mobile app to even register for classes, has some financial aid information available to them, as well as other key resources that we may be able, as Kirsch talked about. There's a link that goes directly to campus police, which takes you to their website and gives you the option to link right from there, click the phone number to contact the police, and then you can dial it right there from your mobile device that you have. So a really great, nice tool there. So definitely recommend you download it. When you go to log into the app, it's the same login you would log into the portal and other resources at HU. So certainly feel free to do that and you'll have a wealth of resources. I also would recommend too, if you find there is something you feel would be useful in the mobile app that you think would be good to have that maybe is not there currently, certainly reach out to our help desk, make them aware and provide that suggestion, and then we'll go ahead and see what we can do to kind of make those resources available to you. And lastly, but certainly not least, where are some training resources? And again, one thing that's going to be a little different this year is we're going to be providing some boot camp training resources here in the month of September. These trainings will be on Fridays, every Friday at 4 o'clock through the month of September. And these trainings will be done via Zoom. So a calendar of what topics will be covered, as well as links to those Zoom meetings will be sent out here pretty quickly, probably later this week. And once you get that, certainly feel free to attend. We're going to talk about a lot of things, dive a little deeper than what I've been able to do today. But real quickly, for the Microsoft Office 365 suite, you have a slew of resources. There's a great website here to go to, the Office Training Center. It gives you a lot of good videos and other tutorials to be able to help get you started and kind of digging in deeper into some of the Microsoft Office products. And then in Moodle, there are some training resources in Moodle. We provide a student orientation course. So students can jump into a training. It's under the training category. And then also faculty and staff have access to both a level 1 and kind of a level 2 training resource there, kind of a beginner and advanced. So definitely feel free to access those resources as well as you may be working to get acclimated to Moodle. So that's really all I had to share today, and we'll see kind of what questions you guys have after a little bit. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Adam. All right. We are going to jump over here. If I can get my gallery view back up there. There we go. To Marcy Hawkins. Take it away.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Hope you're hanging in there. This is a lot of information being thrown at you all at once, but we're so glad you're here and a part of the Forrester family. My name is Marcy Hawkins, and I am the director of the Forrester Fund, which is our student scholarship program. I am entering my 7th year. I'm also a 2003 graduate and also a 2020 graduate with my MBA. So really honored and privileged to be able to serve our Forrester family in the way that I can. So I'm going to share my screen just to show a little bit more about Forrester Fund here. There we go. So like I said, President Emberton and Stephen Weingart had already kind of mentioned the Forrester Fund being our student scholarship program. Right now, this program supports 93% of our traditional undergrad students. And so that's really exciting for me. When we are out sharing the story of our students and what they get to experience here at Huntington, I love to be able to tell donors and prospective donors that anything they give to Forrester Fund, be it $1 or $1 million, 100% of that will go straight back out to students in the form of scholarship. And so they are encouraged by that because that they know then that that is the most direct way to impact our students and the experience that they get here at Huntington. This year we have a fiscal year goal, which is June 1 to May 31st of $600,000. So really big goal, but we are excited and encouraged to get to that number and to exceed that. We have a lot of different things that we do throughout the year that helps us with that as well. For example, we have a variety of direct mail pieces that will go out to anywhere between 5,000 and 10,000 people throughout the year. And then we also have our phone-a-thon. So for those of you joining us that are also graduates or maybe former parents, you might have gotten a phone call from one of our student callers. And so they do a great job each semester as they make phone calls and share their own stories and ask people to support the Forrester Fund through our phone-a-thon. That happens in the fall and also in the spring for 3 to 4 weeks at a time. Something else that you'll hear a little bit more of a little bit later is our Day of Giving. And this is really exactly what it sounds like. It's our 24-hour day where we encourage anyone and everyone to walk with us and partner with us and help impact our students by giving on Day of Giving. You will see that most individuals will give online on that day, but we do have some folks who still love to write checks, and so they will walk their check into the office and support in that way. Last year, Day of Giving raised over $100,000 in one day, and so we are excited to see what that looks like for November 19th, 2020. Please mark your calendars. And you'll hear more about that and some of the challenges. I don't know what it quite looks like yet for this year, but there was a pretty hefty competition last year between our faculty and staff and our students. The winners happened to be our faculty and our staff, and you all got to enjoy Chick-fil-A sandwiches as your prize. And so I don't know what that looks like quite yet. We're gonna talk to some of our students and see if they'll help us actually coordinate some of those fundraising challenges this year. So more to come on our day of giving. We also have what's called our Pacesetter Society. And our Pacesetter Society is actually just a couple of years old, and it's an annual giving society for individuals and companies really that partner with the university at $1,000 or more for the Forrester Fund. And so last fiscal year, we had 138 members. This year, we're looking to reach for 165 or more members. And we've actually kind of expanded what this Pacesetter Society looks like in order to allow as many people who would like to participate. So I'm not sure if you all who are on the call received a packet from me in campus mail. If not, you'll probably get it in the next couple of days. For those of you either in Fort Wayne or Arizona, I will make sure you get those packets as well. But you will be getting a Forrester Fund brochure, and it talks more about our Pacesetter Society. So for individuals who are also graduates, there are different levels. For example, if you are 0 to 5 years post-graduation from the university, for you to become a Pacesetter, you would be able to contribute $300 to Forrester Fund in a fiscal year, and that would make you a Pacesetter for that particular year. There's levels for 0 to 5 years out, 6 to 10 years out, and then 11 plus. So we're expanding what that looks like, knowing that every gift, regardless of whether or not it's a Pacesetter gift, it matters and it adds up. And we know that every gift strengthens our foresters and it strengthens our forest. And so we are just excited to be able to put this out here as an opportunity for our alums and our friends and our parents, for our faculty and staff who are interested in partnering with the Forrester Fund in this way by being a Pacesetter. So like I said, every bit of participation matters. As you can imagine, even in a time with COVID-19, we have students right now who are looking at every single penny that they can get a hold of for scholarship that might help them come back in the fall. And so we want to do our part as well. Right now, our employee participation rate, it's awesome in my opinion, because we have so many who have already partnered with us. So this last fiscal year that ended May 31, we had a 40% participation rate, and that is with our full-time and our part-time employees, our faculty and staff. I'd love to see that number increase, only because it helps us help more students. And really that's the end goal, that we can pour into our students and show them that we are here for them in so many different ways, and giving financially is just one of those. There are some benefits for Indiana residents. We have the Indiana tax credit, so you can get up to 50% tax credit back for gifts made to higher education, in addition to the CARES Act, which is open now through the end of this calendar year. And so if you want more information on those particular benefits, I'm happy to share those, but you can also find them on our website and on the government's website as well. But really a great opportunity to be able to partner with your school and get a little bit of tax relief from that as well. So I would invite you, as you get started here with orientation. I know some of you have been here a while already. Some are just really starting here in the last few days. I would encourage you and invite you to see what that looks like for you as far as partnering with the Forrester Fund, and different ways you can think about that. We have payroll deduction. I'm sure Jean Cole and Connie and others might have talked with you already about that as an option. In your packet that you got from me or will in the next few days, there was a payroll deduction form in there, and it even kind of gave you a couple of different options. if you wanted to make your decision on how much you wanted to give per month. If you wanted to step out in faith and be that pace setter, it's $83.34 a month, or even broken down even more, $41.67 per pay. And so there's that opportunity. If that's not something that you are interested in quite yet, but you want to still jump in and give monthly, you have the option to fill in the blank as you see there. But I would also ask that you save the date for November 19th for Day of Giving and think about what that looks like. We have a lot of opportunity for matching gifts. Actually, we have several already that have stepped forward that have said, we'll give X number as a matching gift so that others can double in their impact, kind of thing. And so you'll hear more about that as we get closer to Day of Giving. And then one of the first things you can do too is get an HU license plate. They are really fun. We sell or renew a little over 700 license plates a year, and $25 of each HU plate comes right back to the Forester Fund. So you can participate in that way as well. And then you can drive around and be proud to be a Forester and just show everybody wherever you go how much you love HU. So welcome. We're so glad you're here. Thank you for your consideration of participating in Forester Fund. And if you have any questions, you can definitely reach out to me. I'm in the annex building on the second floor, the upper level, and my extension is 4097. So I'd love to chat with you if you had any questions. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. I feel like we should stand up and stretch or do calisthenics or stuff after all of the information that you've been introduced to in the last couple hours, but I'll try to be short and sweet. I'm the registrar, and those of us in my office are occupied with, are charged with keeping student records. We help students register. We take in grades. We make sure their transcripts are correct, issue transcripts when they request them. If you have issues with class lists or submitting grades or knowing what a student's schedule is, we're the office that you contact for that sort of information. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit today, just real quickly, about protecting student privacy. One of the things that I'm charged with is being the FERPA officer, which is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. And that's a federal act that requires us to maintain student records with confidentiality and not release information unless the student has asked us to do that. I like to think it's asking us to conduct ourselves the way we would anyway, just out of respect for our students, for their right to privacy. But there is a federal law that backs it up as well. It puts a little bit of Have I been muted that whole time?
No, you've not been muted the whole time.
Okay, all of a sudden I had something flash up that said, you are muted. And I thought, okay. There is a way for students to authorize us to release their information, and it's on the student portal. All of us as employees have access to that. If you go to the portal and click on student authorizations, whether you're a faculty member or a staff member, you'll be able to see and search by that student's ID number to see if they've authorized individuals to have access to their information. There's a handout that you should have that describes how to do that. And if you ever have occasion to do that, I'm not going to walk you through every little bit of it now, but if you ever have occasion where you're not sure, you're asked to release information to someone you're not sure you should be releasing information to, please contact me and I'll walk you through how you use that system. Basically, if someone is an employee and in the conduct of their job, they have a need to see information, then they have a right to do it. Otherwise, we keep things confidential. And if you are contacted by someone, if you have access to information and you're contacted by someone asking about it, I would always caution you to step back and say, let me check on that and I'll get back with you, and then check into whether you're able to give that information to that person. As a new employee, you may not know what everyone does. And so you don't know why the basketball coach wants to know a student's GPA, or why an admissions person wants to know how well a student did. Oftentimes those requests are legitimate, but you do have to question each one of them and make sure that they have a legal right to it. We do have the right to, we declare some things are directory information, meaning they can be published. That doesn't mean that we always publish them. It means that when there is reason, and when the organization or individual asking for it has a legitimate reason to know it, that we will release it. So things like, did a student graduate? Yeah, that's public information. We publish it in the paper every year. We publish it in the graduation bulletin. That's information we can verify. But what is a student's GPA? No, we don't release that unless we're specifically authorized by the student. So this is hard to do because usually I have stop and ask questions and people have questions about different situations. If you do have a question about a specific situation, please contact me anytime. And don't feel like, well, I contacted her during the first 6 weeks I was here and I shouldn't be doing it again. People who've been here for 20, 30, 40 years sometimes contact me because a situation comes up. And there are always difficult situations too, where students have divorced parents, or a student's going through a divorce, or is in a difficult situation with a person who may be harassing them. You just have to be very careful. I'll quote my assistant, Beth Du Bois' mom. Her mom always said, when in doubt, don't. And I think that's a good thing to live by in lots of situations, but particularly when you have access to a student's information. If you have any doubt that the person you're talking to may not have access to that or have the right to access it, then don't. Stop. You can offer to call them back, or you can boot it to me and let me be the bad guy and say, I'm sorry, we can't release that to you. I've been doing that for a long time and I'm pretty good at it and I'm very comfortable doing it. So feel free to pass those on if you just don't want to face the angry parent or the student who's frustrated because they have to go through channels to get something released.
All right.
That's it for me.
Thank you so much. Okay. All right. We're going to kick it over now to Dr. Ann McFerrin.
Hi, everybody. I'm a school teacher, so you can imagine that I'm going to want to know how many of my students out there are paying attention. So I've got a couple of questions for you. So get ready. Lynette, maybe you can help me. This first question is going to be an easy one, and maybe you'll see the chats coming in before I do. But I'm going to ask you a question. If you could time travel, would you go forward or backward? So if you could time travel, would you go forward or backward? And if you would just go ahead and post that in chat, I'll start talking to you a little bit about time travel. And Lynette, if you see them coming in,
I will let you know. We have a little bit of latency on this, so type in their answers, folks, and we'll no one wants to be first.
well, no, we're going to find if anybody's out there. Lynette, that's what we're going to figure out.
That's the other piece of this too. Absolutely.
Did they come back from break or not?
Well, it tells us that they have, but we'll see. So
All right.
We're waiting. We're going to wait.
Right.
We'll just wait them out. This will be fun. Okay. Wow, that's a good question, is what some are saying. We've got one vote for back, one vote for forward, another vote for forward, another vote for backward, so it's tied right now. Backwards
Okay.
now, up, forward, nope, tied again. Forward's up. Hold on. Okay, backward, they're tied again.
Okay.
Forward took the lead, and then back, and then back, and then back. Oh, no, backwards got the lead.
Okay. Well, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go. So you tell me what the vote is here at the end. You
All
tell me
right.
who wins.
All right.
But I'll tell you what research tells us. Now you've all had a chance to vote, but research tells us that back wins. And so we'll see if you're like them and that the backwinds for us. So most travel backward to the known or to the things that they have heard about historically. We can grasp the past. We've heard about it. There are people in the past that we have heard of, or maybe we've known, and we would treasure another moment with some of them. So lots of us want to travel backwards. So Lynette, I'm going to try not to step all over you too much, but since I don't know, probably the most historic, I'm the living history museum piece that came today because I'm starting my 40th year teaching. But so I really wasn't here in 1897, but I want to go back just a little bit to 1897 when our HU tribe was formed. Our mission was articulated and we began on September 22nd, 1897. And Bishop Milton Wright, the father of the Wright brothers, dedicated these grounds now and hereafter to the causes of Christian education in the name of the triune God. The church, the United Brethren Church, had been praying for a way to start a college. And Wright says that it was precipitated upon us like a clap of thunder. And it was because of the Huntington Land Association, a group of local business people that wanted to develop the city and set part of the city aside for what they hoped could be an institution of higher education. You know, ironically, years and years later, that's what the people in Peoria, Arizona did. That city also was looking for a university. And so it will be interesting in 122 years to see how that Peoria site has developed for us. But the plans that those people made back in 1897 were time travel future plans. And when I think about all the changes that have happened since 1897, it's mind-boggling that those people had that kind of faith to stake out a little neighborhood in Huntington, Indiana, to start an institution of Christian higher education that now 122 years later, we're forwardly trying to carry forward. And they established that mission. It was an act of faith, and the Lord has done through them and through us immeasurably more than we could ask or imagine. I teach business and management courses, mainly econ courses. And so I'm always interested in how would a mission like ours be sustained. There's a book that sometimes I assign by Simon Sinek. Some of you know of him as a leadership writer. And he has this book, Start With Why. And so here's my second question that's going to play in a little bit later. I want you all to think about some important person in your life that's had a positive impact on your life. Not your mom or dad, not that close immediate family, but somebody else that has had a positive impact on your life. Once you get that person in your head, and normally it doesn't take very long for us to think of somebody, it's just played a crucial role in our lives. It's had a positive impact on our life. I would like for you just to put in a chat box 1 or 2 words as what are the traits, what traits has that person exhibited? Why did you articulate that person? What is it about that person that made them have such a positive impact in your life? Is there a characteristic or a trait that stands out that really has helped them have a positive impact on your life? So I want you to put that. I'd like for you to just put that in, and I'm going to see here as they come up, maybe in a little bit. Yeah, both. Yeah, and I'll Lynette and I will both keep an eye on that. What I'd like to think about is Simon Sinek in that book that says, "Start with why," and I'd like to think about what's our why. And I might add, we even have a who. Lots of times at work and in your job and in occupations that we do, there's a lot of focus on how and what. So it's the task, it's the method, it's the process. But for us at Huntington University, it's really about the who and the why. And of course, the who is Christ. And the why is to have an impact on the world for Christ. And that's really what we're centered on. We know that that first and greatest commandment is to love the Lord our God with all our heart, strength, and mind. And I guess what I'm trying to tell you is this focus that we have on Christ isn't something that's just a marketing novelty. Because we really believe that that first greatest commandment is meant for us, as well as the second, to love our neighbor as ourselves. And so we are oriented in our culture over 122 years. And I've been here for a long time. I was a student at Huntington College years ago. I have had so many people speak into my life based on that who and why, even as I'm being equipped with the what and how. I see some of your responses coming in, that somebody's been a genuine leader. Somebody is inspirational. They're caring. They listen to me. Somebody took the time to listen to you. I appreciate that, Julia. That's so valuable. They're empathetic. They were patient. When we think about those traits, I love seeing some of those. Go ahead as you think about that person that has been so influential in your life. I'd like for you to think about our future. You know, maybe we time traveled to the past for a minute there, but we're 123 years into this future, and you have just signed up to be part of our present and part of our future. What I'd like for you to think about is these caring traits, these people that are open to you, that care about you, that continue to grow, that listen, that are inspirational. I would like for you to think about what trait is it that you are bringing into our future. Because we need your best. And maybe that you will adopt one of these things from somebody that has had an influence on you, and bring that with you to work. Sure, I want you to know what, I want you to know how. We want competence, we want task competence. That's the easy part. The more challenging and the crucial thing for our mission is the focus on the who and the why. Let me end with just a quick story on this little vignette on culture. And this is a COVID-19 spring story. So I was teaching a class, and we all hated it, and students were in their mom's basements, and they hated being apart. And I remember one kid that had a big frown on his face on a Friday, and I said, "Hey, what? It's Friday night's coming up. Why are you looking so sad?" And he said, "Because it's family game night, and I'm in charge." So you can remember what it'd be like to be 20 years old and be put in charge of family game night, and you're there in the basement. But I had this one class, and I had probably about 25 students in it, and I got used to what their rooms looked like and how they looked. And I recognized that one morning I had one student that had a different backdrop behind him. And near the end of the hour, I said, "Hey," called the student by name, and I said, "Looks like you're out and about today." And he said, "Well, actually, I'm in the hospital, and I'm waiting to have surgery." And it flashed for me right then that this was a Riley kid. And those of you from around here know about Riley Hospital. This is a kid that had shared that he was a cancer survivor. He had survived a bone marrow transplant with the help of his brother. And I had no idea he was having any health problems. Here he was in the hospital. And the other thing that flashed for me right at that moment was that he was alone. So you remember, here it is, COVID. This student is in the hospital and by himself, waiting for surgery. And he reached out to be in our class that day. So, obviously I just stopped what we were doing. We prayed for him. It still makes me emotional to think about him being there. He did fine. But I'll tell you what, that was probably the most important thing I did last year. Was having the opportunity to pray for him when he was in that setting, and he felt close enough to us, interested enough in us, trusting enough in us that we were that connection that day. So I want to encourage you that there are going to be moments that are outside of the what and the how that you're doing. They're going to be far more important, that are focused on the who who and the why of what we are at Huntington University. Welcome. I look forward to meeting you all in person.
Hey, I'll introduce myself again. My name is Lynette Fager. I'm Director of Communication here at Huntington University. I'm a proud member of class of 2010 and leader of what we like to call the Creative Ninjas here on campus. Sounds a little silly, maybe, but it's accurate and it's memorable. It's how people remember who we are and what we do. My team is the Office of University Relations, and we are comprised of myself as director, our graphic designer, our project manager and staff writer, and our web content manager, as well as a team of students who do a lot of work for us. What we do is actually keep things running, internal, external communications for Huntington University at all three of our locations. We keep things moving forward when it comes to the website. We're in charge of marketing, public relations, media relations, all of those things, event planning, all of those pieces come through and filter through our office. We are proud of the fact that we're the ones who get to tell the university story. We get to tell the stories, the good, wonderful, powerful, positive, sad, happy, glorious stories that build this campus community, who we are and what we do. And so be that the alumni story who has been out of Huntington University for 50 years and was able to tell us something really great about what they've done with their life since then, or the brand new student who just started here at Huntington University, or the parents who's bringing their kid on campus for the first time. All of those stories come together and take place and happen here in our offices and get redistributed in ways that are just wonderful for people to actually hear and interpret and understand and become part of the bigger story of Huntington University. We make marketing and communication happen in so many ways. If you're in your area, if something good, exciting, and interesting happens, we need you to tell us about it because I can't be everywhere. And so being able to know what's happening around campus, information is vital to what we do. When in doubt, tell me about it so that I can actually see if it might be something that works into the bigger story or if it's worthy of a story all of its own. Anything that you think might be interesting, I'd love to hear about it. There's really no story too big or too small for me to know. And here in a little bit, I'll show you how you can share that information with me and my team. And really, we do everything we can to make Huntington University look good, from the marketing that we put together to the communications pieces. All of those elements come together in our offices, and we do our best to sing the praises of Huntington University in every department and every office here on campus. A couple things that we like to share with people, especially those who are new to the Forrester family, are what does it mean to be a Forrester and what is Huntington University? So what does it mean to be a Forrester? We call that our spirit of the Forrester language. It's this idea of when somebody asks what a Forrester is, we don't want you to just say that, well, it's kind of like a lumberjack. It's so much bigger than that. A Forrester is someone who chases truth. It's someone who defies complacency, someone who is constantly curious, someone who cares completely, someone who embraces interconnectedness, someone who has grit, and someone who explores creativity. These are the defining elements of what it means to be a Forrester. These are the pieces of the puzzle that come together to create that person, that being that is proud to be a Forrester. And when somebody asks you, okay, so tell me about Huntington University, this question gets asked of a lot of different people. What is Huntington University? Well, you could talk about 100 things. You could talk about 1,000 things. But what we really want you to talk about is 3 things. Huntington University is authentic. We are who we are, and we are proud of who we are. There are some people who will introduce Huntington University, well, we're a small university. Be proud of the fact that we are the size we are, because that's, first of all, the size that God wants us to be. And second, it means that our students are known. It means that our students are never a number. We know our faculty, we know our staff, we know our students, we know our graduates, we know our incoming students. That's just one example of how we are who we are. We're proud of that. We're proud of that we're proud of who we are. We're also rooted. We're rooted in a foundation of faith and tradition. We are 125 years old, almost. That's a long history of faith, of inclusion, of unity, of diversity, of experience, of stories, of relationship, of community, of all of these things. And we're very rooted in what that means and who we are. And thirdly, we're a place where you can belong. We're a place where you can choose to be a part of our story, where you can choose to be a part of this forest of foresters, where you can choose to be a part of something bigger. And it's a place where you're going to find somewhere that you fit and you fit perfectly. So those are the three things that we want people to understand and internalize. So when somebody asks you, tell me about Huntington University, you can internalize these three concepts and make them your own so that you can help us tell the Huntington University story. We ask you to join us on our quest of telling the university story and telling it in effective ways. Communication is key, and it's helpful for people to feel like they are a part of something, not just showing up to work and doing their time and leaving, but really truly a part of something. Remember earlier in this presentation, I told you that I would tell you how to get back to us and how to communicate stories to us. If you go to huntington.edu/askuniversityrelations, it'll bring up a form. And on that form, you can fill out any type of request that you have of the university. You need a flyer, that's where you go. You need a poster, that's where you go. You need a brochure, that's where you go. You need a t-shirt, a swag item. You name it, we've ordered it. You need a banner, you need a pop-up sign, you need water bottles, you need sunglasses, all of those things. Our office takes care of it. Some offices will ask, well, why can't we just order it ourselves? Well, a couple reasons. First of all, we want to make sure that everything we do here at Huntington University is completely brand compliant. We want to make sure that the right logos are being put on the right things at the right time, in the right sizes, and the right colors, and the right ratios. And that's the purview of my office. Second piece of that puzzle is we want to make sure we're getting you the best deal. We've been doing this for a while, which means we've built a ton of vendor relationships. I've lost track of the number of times that we've been able to get someone a better deal than they were able to get for themselves because we know the bigger picture. So when you're ordering 25 t-shirts for one office and 400 t-shirts for another office, when we combine those things, which you guys might not know about, but we do, we can get you a better deal. So those are some key reasons why we want you to use us for anything you're ordering, because we can find a way to make it happen. Another way that you can help join us on our quest is to be an ambassador. Huntington.edu/ambassador is a way that you can reach out and connect with the university to find ways to tell the story and help us tell the story outside of your 9-to-5 job or whatever that looks like. We want you to feel like you are empowered with tools as well as swag and stories that you can help share this great place. I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about Forrester Feed and Coffee Break. These are our daily newsletters that go out that allow you to know what's happening on campus. Forrester Feed is for faculty and staff. Coffee Break is for students. You can subscribe to both, but I recommend that even if you don't read the entire thing word for word, at least scan the headlines. If you don't pay attention to it, you really can't use the excuse, well, I didn't know it was happening. If you have things that you want to submit to the Forrester Feed and Coffee Break, go to their websites and you will find the hamburger menu. You'll go to the little you'll click on the post to feed option, and it'll give you an option to actually add something to the Forrester Feed. The final thing I would want to talk about with you guys right now is how you can help us continue to strengthen the story of Huntington University on a day-to-day basis. Huntington University brand is only as strong as its weakest link. Please don't be that weakest link. I was talking a little bit ago about the right colors, the right brands, the right logos, the right styles, the right fonts, all of those things. When you put out content that doesn't represent the HU story and doesn't follow the style guide and doesn't follow the brand guide, you're hurting the university in minor ways, but those minor ways add up. And so I ask that you participate with us in helping build the brand and making it stronger. If you ever have a question about, am I using the right logo? Please ask. That's why me and my team are here. Style Guide is another example of this. How do we actually write times and dates? How do we write class of 1999? Or how do we write out any of our programs, our majors? How do we refer to the buildings on our campus? All of that is contained in our style guide. Our style guide and our brand guide are both available at the University Relations webpage, which is actually really easy to remember. You can do your normal search. We're actually found, if you go onto our website and click the search button, you can find us at Office of University Relations, or in a more memorable way, you can go to huntington.edu/ninja and you'll find all those elements right there. Please, please, please consider going through the style guide so that you're at least aware of what language is in there and how it can be beneficial to you. Lastly, at least for now, lastly, social media is a big deal. We ask that when you become an employee of Huntington University, you sign our social media policy, which basically is a simple policy that says that you understand that when you speak on social media, on even your personal social media, that you are speaking in some part on behalf of the university. So we ask that you pay attention to that. The other piece of this, however, is the understanding that social media is a big deal and it's got a lot of moving parts to it. If you are, for example, joining us as the director of an office or a department, I beg you, I plead with you, I beseech you, please don't just start a social media account because you think it's a way to reach people. It's not at all. We have plans and policies in place so that we can actually leverage all of our content and bring it together to better serve our audience. If you have something you want to be placed on social media, work with me, tell me about it. That Ask University Relations form that I told you a little bit about, that also has a place where you can actually submit content to be posted on social media. But when you start an account, you're hurting our search engine optimization. You're hurting our usability with our faculty or with our audiences across all of the platforms. So please don't just start a social media account because you think it'll be helpful. It actually will do just the opposite. So keeping those things in mind, brand, style, social media, those are all important pieces of this puzzle that we want to make sure you're aware of right from the get-go. At the end of the day, like I said before, your ninjas are here to help you and to serve the university in any possible way we can. So if there's ever anything you need help with, ordering, purchasing, or finding, or designing, or creating, or promoting, or scheduling, all of those pieces, talk to us. We're here to help you in any way we can. Once again, welcome to the Forrester family. Welcome to Huntington University. We are so thrilled that you're here.